In this video, we are going to learn about kidney. So I am Dr. NMGD, Assistant Professor, Department of Pharmacology, KLE College of Pharmacy, Hubballi. In this figure, you can see the urinary system. See, one of the important excretory system in the human body, see, that is the urinary system, or that is also called as a renal system. See, the organs of renal system that mainly includes 2 kidneys, 2 ureters, 1 urinary bladder and urethra. The functions of the organs of urinary system, the first one, that is the kidneys. See, they are actively involved in formation of the urine, and ureters just they collect the urine that is formed in the kidneys towards the urinary bladder. Urinary bladder, it acts as a temporary reservoir. Temporarily it stores the urine, and by micturition process the urine is excreted into the exterior region through the urethra. So this is about the organs of urinary system and the functions of all the organs of urinary system. Let us discuss about the kidneys. See, both the kidneys which are located in the abdominal cavity, in the upper part of the abdominal cavity. See, both the kidneys, they are attached on the posterior wall of the abdomen with the help of adipose tissue. Let us discuss the size, shape as well as the weight of the kidneys. See, the normal size of the kidneys, normal length, that is 11 centimeter, and width 6 centimeter, and thickness, that is normally 3 centimeter. And the shape of the kidney, that is bean shaped, and normal weight of the kidneys, that is approximately 150 grams. Let us discuss about the internal structure of kidney. See, that is a gross structure and the different parts of kidney as well as the functions of the different parts of the kidney. See, in this image, you can see this is the image of right kidney, that is the longitudinal section of right kidney. See, this is the concave part, see that at the medial region, and this is the convex part of the kidney, see that is lies at the lateral region. The important structures which enters into the kidney at the hilum region or concave region of the kidney. See, mainly the renal artery, renal vein and ureter as well as the nerves which are enters into the kidney at the hilum region. And this ureter divides, again subdivides, and finally that is connected to the renal papilla. See, the function of this is collecting the urine that is formed in the structural and functional units which are present in the medulla part of the kidney. Let us see the outermost layer, a thin layer that covers both the kidneys. This is called as the capsule. It is made up of fibrous tissue. Immediately below this capsule, you can see the cortex part, and innermost layer or innermost part, see, this is the medulla part. In between the medulla as well as the capsule, you can see the reddish brown color part. See, this is the cortex part of the kidney. See, these structures, they are called as the renal pyramids which lie in the medulla part of the kidney. See, that looks dark and light bands. See, that is because of the collecting ducts which are present at this region. So that gives this appearance. The function of these tube-like structures, they collect the urine that is formed in the nephrons. They are the structural and functional units of the kidney. Into the collecting duct, see from the number of collecting duct, urine passes towards the renal papilla. From this renal papilla, urine enters into the minor calyces, into the major calyces, and finally towards the ureter, towards the urinary bladder. See, this is about the gross structure and the functions of the different parts and the important structures they enters into the kidney. Let us discuss about the functions of kidney. The important functions of the kidney, that is the first and foremost important function, that is urine formation. And the kidney, they maintains water level, electrolyte level and acid-base balance in the body fluids. That also includes, that is blood. And the kidneys, they are excreting the waste products like the urea, uric acid and other waste metabolites which are excreted by the kidney. So apart from this, two important functions that is performed by the kidneys. One is secretion of erythropoietin and secretion of renin. See, the erythropoietin, the function of this is it maintains RBC level in the blood. When there is a decreases in RBC count, normally the erythropoietin that is released by the kidney cells, and this stimulate the red bone marrow for the synthesis and release of the red blood cells into the blood. Once the RBC count that becomes normal, further there is no secretion of the erythropoietin. And one more important enzyme, that is a renin, that is released by the kidney cells. The important function of this renin is it maintains the blood pressure. Later we will discuss the mechanism how the renin that is involved in maintenance of blood pressure. Let us discuss about the hormones which are regulating the functions of the kidney. Similarly, the parathyroid hormone, calcitonin, antidiuretic hormone, aldosterone and atrial natriuretic peptide. See, some of the hormones as well as the peptides, they are secreted by different endocrine glands as well as the wall of the heart. See, they are mainly acting on the kidneys and regulating the function of the kidney. Let us discuss one by one. The first one, that is the parathyroid hormone as well as the calcitonin. So they are actively involved in maintenance of calcium as well as the phosphate level in the body. So when there is a high level of calcium and phosphate, normally the calcitonin that is released by the thyroid gland, it reduces to the normal level by acting on the kidneys, by inhibiting reabsorption of calcium as well as the phosphate. See, that is the parathyroid hormone function is opposite as that of the calcitonin. When there is a low level of calcium and phosphate, normally parathyroid hormone that is releases, it normalizes these level by increasing a reabsorption of calcium as well as the phosphate. So this hormone that is released by parathyroid gland. The next one, that is the antidiuretic hormone. The hormone that is secreted by posterior lobe of pituitary. Normally when it releases, when there is a decreases in the water level in the body, normally the posterior lobe of the pituitary that releases antidiuretic hormone that is influenced by the hypothalamus. So how it normalizes the water level? By acting on nephrons. It increases reabsorption of the water at the collecting duct region as well as the distal convoluted tubule region. And next one, that is aldosterone, the hormone secreted by adrenal gland. The function of this aldosterone, that is reabsorption of sodium. At the same time, aldosterone facilitates the excretion of the potassium. And next one, that is atrial natriuretic peptide. So this is secreted by the wall of the atria. So when there is a increases in load on the atria of the heart, so there is a secretion of atrial natriuretic peptide. It acts on the nephron and it facilitates the excretion of sodium and water. Once the load on the heart, that is, normalizes, it stops the secretion of atrial natriuretic peptide. Let us discuss about antidiuretic hormone, when it releases and how it is involved in regulating the water level in the body. See, when there is a increases in the blood osmotic pressure, that occurs normally when there is a decreases in water level in the body or blood volume. So that leads to increases in osmotic pressure. When there is a osmotic pressure is increases, some of the receptors which are present in the hypothalamus, they are sensitive for the changes in the osmotic pressure. When there is increases in osmotic pressure, these receptors, they get stimulated, and hypothalamus is finally stimulating the posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, and posterior lobe of the pituitary gland, immediately that releases the antidiuretic hormone into the bloodstream. Once this hormone enters into the bloodstream, it circulates throughout the body and it reaches to the kidneys. So as already explained, the structural and functional units of the kidney, that is nephrons. The urine formation that mainly occurs in the nephron by different mechanism. Mainly the three steps that is involved in the formation of urine, that is glomerular filtration, reabsorption as well as the secretion at the different sites of the nephron. See, among the different parts of the nephron, that is glomerulus, proximal convoluted tubule, descending ascending loop of Henle, distal convoluted tubule. Finally, they are connected to the collecting duct. The antidiuretic hormone, it acts on the nephron, particularly at the distal convoluted tubule as well as the collecting duct region. It increases the permeability of the wall of these structures. Then that leads to increases in reabsorption of the water. So the net effect of this is decreases in the urine volume. Ultimately, because of the increases in reabsorption of the water, so that leads to normalization of blood volume, that is normalization of water level in the blood. So that ultimate leads to normalization of the osmotic pressure. Once the water level that is normalized, osmotic pressure that is normalized, further there is no stimulation of hypothalamus. Then further there is no release of antidiuretic hormone. So this is about negative feedback mechanism. The hormone, that is antidiuretic hormone, that is involved in this process. So let us discuss about renin. So as already explained, the one of the important enzyme that is secreted by the kidney, see, that is the renin. So it is actively involved in regulation of blood pressure. Let us discuss the feedback mechanism when there is a release of renin that is occurs from the kidney cells. Here in this figure you can just go through this. Normally when there is a decreases in blood volume, decreases in blood pressure, decreases in sodium level in the body, mainly in the blood. See, during these conditions, the kidney cells, normally they are releases the renin into the bloodstream. Once the renin that is releases into the bloodstream, in the blood, some of the proteins which are present. So one is the angiotensinogens. So these angiotensinogens, they are converted into angiotensin 1 by the renin. Once the angiotensin 1 is formed, this is converted into angiotensin 2 by the enzyme that is called as ACE, that is angiotensin converting enzyme. See, this is the more active molecule, that is angiotensin 2. What is the function of this angiotensin 2? Angiotensin 2 directly act on the blood vessels. It is showing the constriction effect on the blood vessels, that is called as vasoconstriction. See, by this way it increases the blood pressure, means normally to low blood pressure to the normal blood pressure. Further, there is no release of the renin. And one more important action of angiotensin 2 is it acts on adrenal cortex. It stimulates and adrenal cortex releases the aldosterone, the hormone. See, the function of this aldosterone is, again it acts on the kidney tubules. The function of this aldosterone is it enhances or increases reabsorption of sodium and also the water. At the same time, it facilitates the excretion of potassium. So what is the net effect? It increases water level, increases sodium level in the blood. At the same time, it excretes the potassium in the urine. See, the net effect is normalization of the blood volume as well as the sodium level in the blood. Once the water level normalizes, sodium level normalizes, further, see, there is no release of aldosterone from the adrenal cortex. See, this is the feedback mechanism, the release of renin as well as the aldosterone. They are actively, particularly the renin, that is involved in the regulation of blood pressure, and also it maintains the water level in the body and also the sodium level in the body. But the aldosterone function, important function, that is it maintains the water level as well as the sodium level, but excess potassium is excreted by the aldosterone. So these are the two important negative feedback mechanisms. See, these are the references. Thank you. Thank you all and all.